Deranged Excruciations is a debut full-length album from Metaphobic, an Atlanta, Georgia-based quintet who play death metal, and brutal death metal to some extent, but classics-inspired stuff nonetheless. Early on, they came out with a demo in 2021 that suggested something a little bit more claustrophobic, something incantation-esque in its intensity, which I'd likened to Cemetery Urn at the time. It was a block of noise set to 3 great songs, and it had a little bit of a finished death touch to it. It felt like there was maybe some Demolic in there waiting to show up. And it turns out, if you're a fan of like Pure Blood Doom era Adromelech or just the second Gorguts album, there's a lot you're going to like about Deranged Excruciations, as we begin to see there's much more to this record than the face value provided by the demo tape that came out like 4 or so years ago. They put in some good work for this record, and what we'll do is we'll get cut to a clip here, get a sense for the guitar tone and the riffs that lie ahead, and I'll talk more about this album after that. So the way that I would characterize this record overall is a little bit of a mesh of things. There's definitely immolation-esque movement in there. There's clambering, almost lunging pieces. There's some 90s, what I would call 90s tech death, or more technical exaggerations of the classics that cropped up in the 90s, such as the second Gorguts album, where you're feeling some of the brutality and urgency happening in their sound. But there's also something a little bit more modern about the way they approach some of these riffs and these movements. It's not just for the sake of expanding a singular personality, but there's certain branches to their sound that are much more developed than expected for how long they've been around. And I know this band kind of was an offshoot of another, but it was also kind of a fresh start at the same time by most accounts. What impressed me was that there's dissonance, there's technicality, there's the organic old school death metal feeling of the album, but there's just more around every corner. Each song here has been composed in a way that is singular in its focus and its sound, but there's different ideals being touched upon. And I compare it to When the Sky Turns Black era brutality and a bunch of other classic albums as I go through, because there's a lot that I thought was just kind of beyond what anyone else is doing with this type of sound right now. And when it comes down to it, there's a lot of great riffs on this record. It's a good looking record, and just a fantastic debut overall for death metal. And this early in the year, I think it's likely to get a little bit overlooked for the packed release schedule that is February 28th. Don't overlook it. I think this is a solid record. It's brutal throughout. It is inventive in all of its riffcraft. Vocals are fantastic. Everything is just kind of it's clicking, and it's not too much work to get through it. It's an entertaining album at the end of the day, with some great guitarists in tow. So show up for this one. Check it out here. It releases tomorrow on February 28th, and go ahead and read my review for more of my thoughts in depth.